Okay, at the back yourself, and director too.
Ricardo.
Ricardo, sure.
So, fantastic talk, I have to say. Enjoyed it very much. I'm going to try and ask you to give us some more hints as to the perpetrators of what's occurring, and I'm sure you won't, but I'll attempt to get you to do so. I'd say what I have noticed just looking at things that are happening in Europe, because that's something I'm very interested in. You'll notice in Scandinavian countries where they're acting against their own interests. Sweden was once one of the safest countries in the world, had the lowest rape rate in the world, had no-go zones. It was completely safe. I remember being taken there by my father as a child, and we could walk around the worst parts of Stockholm at night, no problems. Now you have 60 to 80 no-go zones. The rape rate's gone from 3 in 1,000 to 78. You have, as you've mentioned, the games of raping that's done by Muslim men. Yet, anyone who says anything in those countries about what's happening gets silenced. They lose their jobs. They get ostracized by society. And interestingly, I saw a documentary where you had people in Eastern Europe comparing what's happening in those countries to people who try and point out what's happening to what happened in Eastern Europe under communism, but just a more sophisticated version of kind of gagging people and forcing self-censorship where people might see something or think something but they won't say it. So I guess these things are in line with the things that you were commenting on, and I suspect that it seems to be an anti-nationalist. It almost seems like you have the forces of capitalism that have unleashed cultural Marxism to try and bring down nation states and bring down the family. So I'd be interested in your take on that.
Happy to mention them. Okay, at the moment there are 5 threats facing Australia. China, and by China I mean the Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese people. They're very separate, so you've got to understand that. Chinese Communist Party, Islam, the communists, the globalists, and the corporations. They're the 5 major threats. The forces arraigned against us are titanic, and we are just sheep to be sheared and cows to be milked. And that's it. Now, so they're the 5 threats that are currently we are dealing with. So when you're looking for why these things happen, that's why it happens. Now, I was told by a senior member of what we might call the Canberra elite, when I was just asking some innocent questions about Islam in particular, he looked at me quite straight and said, well, we need them. We need them. Why? Why do we have to do that? Let's just go through it very quickly. China, we know. China is the largest foreign landholder in Australia. It's just swept up our dairy industry. It is buying politicians left and right, both sides. Always back 2 horses in a 2-horse race. Then you've got Islam. What you've been told about Islam, and I have a lived experience of this isn't theory, so anybody here, show of hands, lived and worked for an extended period in an Islamic country? No. Great. 1. What that means is most of you get your information from either Tony Jones or somebody else about the beauties of Islam. Let me give you 2 quick an insight into Islam. The religion of peace, that is true. And definitions matter, because they are the religion of peace. Because the Islam sees the world as in 2 parts. Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. Dar al-Islam is the realm of peace, and Dar al-Harb is the realm of war. But definitions matter. Dar al-Islam is where there is Sharia, and Dar al-Harb is where there is not. And it is a global conquest. Does anyone know how long the caliphate lasted after Muhammad started it in 635? Anyone know? Roughly?
About 600 years.
Keep going.
600.
It ended in 1924 with the establishment of modern Turkey as a secular state under Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. So for 1400 years there has been an Islamic caliphate. It's less than 100 years. It's a second to that. They want the world. That's their ideology. It's as simple as that. It's in the Quran, read it. And 51% of the Quran talks about what they have to do to the kafir. Do you know what the kafir is?
Yeah.
It's you. Second lesson on Islam, very quickly. They cannot kill innocents. Absolutely correct. But if you're not Muslim, you're not an innocent. You're a second-class citizen. You're a kafir. So they can rape and kill anybody they want. Last one, taqiyya. When we raise children, we teach them, tell the truth, even if it leads to punishment, correct? Always tell the truth, always tell the truth, turn the other cheek. You know what they're taught in the madrasas? What's beaten into them physically? Taqiyya. You may lie, you may put your hand on the Quran and swear it as the truth and knowingly tell a falsehood and you'll be forgiven if it advances Islam. You may lie. That's Islam. That's the two of the major threats. The corporation's easy. Google. Who thinks Google is a search engine to help you find stuff? Anyone know that it actually manufactures automated weapon systems? It is one of the largest, most dangerous things on the planet. Facebook, another one. You think that fool Zuckerberg has the wit to run a global corporation?
No.
Of course not.
DARPA.
Of course not. And yet they're controlling what we see and what we don't. Google used to be brilliant. Remember Google? It used to be fantastic. Now you can't find anything you want. I typed in, tonight. What was it? Something about South Africa and South African farmers. And the first item was Meghan Markle and Harry and their new
Oh my God.
brand. Okay, so that's China. It's Islam. It's the corporations. It's the socialists. In 1957, a gentleman called Cleon Skousen, who was an undercover FBI agent, retired from the FBI, wrote a book called The Naked Communist. In that book, he enumerated, and for the Green Party members, that means he listed, he enumerated the 45 goals of the US Communist Party. Look it up, 45 goals of the US Communist Party. The first 10 relate to the United States, so that's interesting. And then tick off everything that they intended to achieve to undermine everything about us. They understand how our civilization works better than we do. They attacked the natural family, they attacked Christianity, they attacked art. And really clever. They make the ugly beautiful and the beautiful ugly. Because they want to convince people there is no objective truth. And why do they want to do that? Why do they want to tell you that beautiful, ugly art is beautiful? No objective truth. If there's no objective truth, there is no objective good. If there's no objective good, there's no objective God. There is just relativism. It's all relative. Relax. But have a look at that. They're the socialists. And the last ones are the globalists. So they're the 5 threats, and that's why they're destroying us, and they're doing it. It's an exquisitely executed strategy over decades. Now, people ask me, how close are we to the edge? We're falling. We are falling. We're in free fall now. We're not about to. We have fallen. Unless we turn around, we have lost Australia. It's gone. Now, we can turn it around, but we're going to have to grab the cliff real fast. Otherwise, you and your kids and your grandkids will be like China.